Hey guys, I wanted to make this video regarding leasing rental properties in Las Vegas. I'm driving right now. I'm on my way to a house where we just had to evict a tenant. So I'm not a property manager, but I do get involved quite a bit in the leasing of a lot of these properties for my clients that are investors. It's been a reoccurring theme that I keep thinking that I need to go into property management, and I'm probably going to do that at some point in the near future. It's just really turning into the kind of market where most of the properties are occupied by tenants, and I don't see that changing in the near future. They say millennials don't really even want to buy a house, nor do they even want to buy a car. They like to take Uber and Lyft. Less and less people will be buying. You have just more and more renters. So I'm not a property manager at this point, but I will be in the future. And I want to let you know that leasing property is no joke. Being a landlord is no joke. It's like Mike Goldberg from the UFC. So you want to be an ultimate fighter. It's like, so you want to be a landlord. Are you sure about that? The reason why I say it is I'm not trying to discourage anybody from being a landlord. I think income property is a great investment. But there's a lot that goes into it. Real estate in general is just no joke. You know, getting into an escrow on a property that you're going to occupy, there's things that can go wrong. You need somebody good that not only can help you avoid those problems in a real estate transaction, but also somebody that can explain to you what all of those pitfalls and potential problems are before they even happen. So give me a call if you're talking about buying or selling a property so I can help you with that. I've been in the business since '97, starting in mortgage, and I've seen a lot of stuff happen, and I can keep you out of those situations from the start. So going back to this eviction, you know, this property happens to belong to a family member of mine, and unfortunately we had to do this eviction, and unfortunately we had to do another eviction just like a month ago. And I think since I started doing leasing several years back, and since I started getting involved with getting additional security deposits and additional prepaid rents, last month paid, things like that, a lot of the tenants' money up front, requiring them to have an investment in themselves. I haven't had to see any evictions. With all of my investor clients, they have many rental properties all combined. We have had some people that have had to break their lease and move out. We always tried to work with them. We did work with them many times. Or I should say the landlord, you know. I just try to facilitate if I can come up with ideas that work. But we did have some broken leases along the way. We did have some folks that were like, I can't make this payment, I'm gonna move out, and they moved out of their own accord. But this is the first time when we had to do an eviction, and unfortunately we had to do two back to back. But you know, if you can't pay your rent, you gotta go. It's unfortunate. A landlord does not have to work with you. The agreement in the lease is the agreement. And if a landlord wants to work with you, that's because they're trying to help you out and they don't want to have to deal with the vacancy, so they're trying to help themselves out. And I encourage you to work with your tenants if they're late or if they can't pay for whatever reason. Find out why. Find out what the problem is. Find out how much money they do have. Can they pay some of it? When can they pay the rest? It doesn't take away any of your rights under the lease, but you can't have a tenant in there saying that they have zero money and they can't pay anything. If they can't pay anything, then they got to go. If they're short a few $100, but they have most of it, try to get the money that they have now and try to find out when they can come up with the rest. So on this particular property, we just put this person in, I want to say November, December. We got $2,000 rent on this property. It's a really nice house. We got, if I remember correctly, we got $2,000 for the first month rent, $2,000 for the second month rent, $2,000 for the last month rent prepaid, and $4,000 as a double deposit. These people came in with 10 grand, okay? And then they screwed up. I think the story was probably BS. I don't think that what they said doesn't make sense for somebody making $8,000 a month to suddenly have no money because of a payroll issue at work. But we got $10,000 of their money, so the landlord is sitting on last plus a double deposit, which is $6,000. They didn't pay for February, and they're out on March 15th. So to me, that's about $3,000 worth of rent in damages that the seller didn't get, sitting on $6,000 of their money, which leaves about $3,000 remaining to take care of the rest, which would be the attorney's fees for the eviction, for posting the notice, for taking possession of the property through a constable, through cleaning up the property. Unfortunately, when you get properties back, a lot of times they need to be deep cleaned because the tenants don't clean them. They often damage some things, which costs money. So I like to put my clients in a position of, if they do have some situation, which if you do it long enough and you have enough properties, you are going to have problems on your rentals. I don't care what price point it's at. People have issues. People have real lives. Things happen, and it's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. It's just a matter of how do you set yourself up in that situation to minimize the damages from happening. You can never guarantee that you won't get damaged, but if you can put yourself in a better position, then you can minimize the damage. That's why if I don't have a really squeaky clean tenant, if they have a past eviction or a broken lease or property damage or some other things on their credit and they are not getting approved anywhere, we might still work with them. We won't always work with them, but we might still consider them as a tenant if they can put their money where their mouth is and put up enough security so that we have some of their money to deal with them in the event that they become a problem. And that's what we did in this situation. I feel bad about a person being evicted. If I try to imagine what it would feel like, I'm sure it would be very stressful, and I do feel bad. But how would you feel for a landlord that has to make a mortgage payment and doesn't have the money because he relies on the tenant? I mean, yeah, the tenant got evicted. They're going to have to figure out where they're going to live next. But what if a landlord actually, his property goes into foreclosure because he can't pay his mortgage because of a non-paying tenant? We're actually pretty fortunate to be in the state of Nevada, where the eviction process is very user-friendly for a landlord. California, from my understanding, is a nightmare. It can be like 6 months or something, which 6 months of not getting paid from a tenant on a rental property in California, if you're servicing a mortgage debt, you could lose your property in that time. So it's just really no joke. If you are a landlord, give me a call. I can probably get you, I'd almost guarantee I can get you more rent than you're getting now. And I pretty much, very rarely do I do a deal anymore where I don't get first plus last plus security as a minimum. If they can't afford first plus last plus security, 3 times the rent going in, plus usually a cleaning deposit anywhere from $250 to $500 depending on the size of the unit and the type, plus maybe $100 key deposit for the remote controls and the mail keys, which if you've done this long enough, I'm sure you've lost plenty of mail keys and remote controls from pet tenants that don't give them back. So give me a call if you have a vacancy, if you just want to chat. We don't have to do business, but I'll be happy to help you out as much as I can. I can definitely get you more money than you're getting. I can definitely get you more deposits. It's not very difficult at all for me to get first plus last plus a double. The way I look at it is, if it's a $1,000 a month house and they don't have first plus last plus deposit $3,000, then it's not going to take very much in their lives to go wrong before they can't afford to pay their rent anymore. They could pay you $4,000 coming in with a double deposit and last, and they could still have problems. But I want somebody that's at least been able to save some money in their life and they're not completely living from month to month. So that's usually the way I go. If they don't have really fantastic credit or some offsetting factors that would make them a fantastic tenant. And unfortunately, very rarely do I run into people that are great tenants with great rental history and great credit. Because in Vegas, you can buy a nice condo for $150,000 or a decent house for $200,000. So with an FHA loan, if you got $5,000, you can get into a house. If you've got decent credit in $5,000, you're probably not a renter, you're probably a buyer. So my point is, landlording is no joke. It's tough. A lot can go wrong. If somebody calls you and says, I know you want $1,000 plus a deposit, I got $1,200, can I move in? Hell to the no. They cannot move in. Do not do that. You're gonna get beat up on that one for sure. So with this eviction happening right now, like I said, I do feel bad. It's a sketchy situation. On the last one, we worked with the tenant. She was there a year and a half. She had a lot of personal problems. We felt really bad for her. We worked with her over and over and over again. Late every month for the last 7 months. Didn't pay somewhere along the lines when she gave her notice and ended up not vacating, and we lost a month of rent somewhere in the mix at minimum. But we suspect, actually going through the records, that we lost at least 2, if not 3 months of rent from that tenant. Just landlords are busy. They're dealing with businesses that they operate. They have families. They have their own household. It's no joke, man. But even though it gets a little hairy, it's situations like this where I realize how much more important landlording and property management is than I even originally realized. This is a difficult situation. I'm going to have to go over and had somebody at the office, nice enough, Chris, thank you for changing the locks out for me. I had an appointment at 8:30 that kept me from being there, but I'm going over to secure the property right now. I'm going to get exit video of the condition of the property. And from what I understand, they left quite a bit of stuff, so we're going to have to deal with their stuff for up to 30 days, potentially in a storage or maybe in the garage. I'm hoping to be able to get together with this person and arrange for them to get their stuff out here in the next few days so they can get their stuff and we can get their stuff out. But even though it's pretty hairy, landlording, property management, dealing with these types of issues, it makes me really want to get involved even more. And that's why I know I have a stomach for property management, and it's just something that's been calling me for a really long time. Most of the agents that I talk to are like, dude, it's a nightmare, you don't want to do it. No, I realize that, and I'm going to need to get some help because there's no way I'm going to be able to do it all myself. But it doesn't scare me, and I've sold a lot of properties to my investors, and I can't imagine telling my investors, hey, thanks for buying the property and letting me be your agent, but I can't help you with the rentals. I don't do that. You know, there's not enough money in it. There's no money in it, so I don't do it. Or it's too big of a risk. I mean, if you don't, you know, and if you are an agent, you should be handling or helping or referring your clients to a good property manager or somebody that can help them, you know. And if you're an agent, you know, reach out to me. We can work out some type of a referral agreement too, so that way we can get you paid for, you know, giving us the business, or even, you know, down road in the event that we were to sell the property, to make sure that you get a referral fee on that, you know. Or if it's a situation where you have to get your client back and do the whole deal on your own, I'm sure we could probably work that out. Personally, I'd rather just get a referral fee and do nothing if I was you, but you know, my point is don't sell an investment property to a client and then just disappear and expect them to be able to handle it on their own, because ultimately they're going to wind up with another realtor or property manager that's going to be helping them out on it. And now they're going to be in contact with that person quite a bit. They're probably not going to be your client anymore, because now they're building a relationship with this other agent. So consider staying involved if you're an agent with your investors. And, you know, if it's just something that you don't have the time or the stomach for, which I don't blame you, you know, reach out to me, reach out to a property manager, you know, go have lunch with a couple property managers or make some phone calls and have some conversations, and, you know, find somebody that you think would do a good job for your client and take care of them, because, man, it's no joke out here. It's pretty rough. So that's all I got. Reach out if you have any questions. Ask me a question and I'll answer it. Thank you.